Hi, I'm Brian. Welcome back to another On the Road video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Stop! Before beginning any repair, always be sure to disconnect the power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for proper voltage. Remember to also turn off the water. The tools you will need for this repair are a multimeter, a pair of adjustable pliers, and a 5/16 nut driver. Okay, today we're working on a Maytag top load washer, and the complaint is it won't get warm water. Cold water works, but hot doesn't. So what we're going to do here is take a look. We're going to put on a cold setting and just start any cycle here on the fill. Alright, so there's our cold water, and if we switch it over to just hot water there, we get absolutely nothing. I'm not hearing any humming or buzzing or anything. There's just no sound coming out of the washer right now. Both of our water lines or water valves are on. We verified we have water coming to the washer. So the first thing we're going to go to and check is our water inlet valve. To begin this repair, you need to gain access to the rear of the machine. Now that we have access to the rear of the machine, we're going to remove our 5/16 screw here to gain access to our inlet valve. And now we're going to slide the top out, lift up on the bottom, and bring this assembly outwards here. Alright, and then what we have is the bottom portion of this is our cold water valve, the top is our hot water valve. So we're going to remove the wire connections here. It's the hot water valve, and we can do two checks back here. First check you can do is actually check that you're getting 120 volts to the hot water valve. So what you can start up a cycle like we did earlier just on the hot water section in any cycle and start it up and then check for your voltage. Alright, so first, before we plug the unit back in, we're going to insert our meter leads here to the hot water connection and then plug the unit back in. And now we'll just start a cycle on the hot or warm water on the portion of the cycle that will actually fill with water and check for our voltage. And we are getting 120 volts here, so we know that the timer is sending voltage to the hot water valve. So now we'll go ahead and unplug the washer again. And now we can actually take a continuity test of the hot water valve. So just take our meter leads and go to each terminal on the hot water side. And we're not getting any resistance whatsoever. So this valve is just completely open. Coil's broken inside of it, so that's why we're not getting any hot water. This valve is bad. Typically, you should be getting a reading of about, we'll actually check our cold water side here and get an idea of what it should be. And I'm getting about 882 ohms on the cold water side. So that's roughly what we're looking for. We're not getting any ohms at all on the hot water side. So for this repair, we'll need to replace our water inlet valve. Alright, so first thing we'll do is we'll get our wires out of the wire restraint here on the valve. And next thing we can do is remove this hose clamp and our two inlet hoses. To do that, we'll use a pair of adjustable pliers. Depress these tabs on this clamp here. Slide that off and get a little water that comes out of there. The next thing we can do is remove the 2 inlet hose. We've already shut off the hot water and cold water shut-off valves. We're still going to get a little water that comes out here. Alright, and now we're going to remove the inlet valve from this bracket. 2 5/16 screws to remove. Alright, now let's install the new valve. To do that, our inlet port here is going to go upwards. We're just going to slide this into here. And we're going to go ahead and reattach our 2 5/16 screws. Alright, now we'll go ahead and reinstall our inlet hose. Slide this clamp up a little higher. Next, we can put our wire terminals back on. The orange and brown go to the hot water top side here. Brown and blue go to the cold water on the bottom. And we'll go ahead and tuck our wires back into the restraint here on the valve. This little metal clip. Alright, and we'll go ahead and redo our inlet hoses, or reconnect our inlet hoses on here. I'm going to leave it unmounted out of the cabinet here so that when we run it through a test cycle, we can check that this hose connection here is not leaking. Alright, we'll go ahead and connect the top side here first, which is going to be our hot. Cold at the bottom. I'm just going to tighten them up. You don't want to over tighten them. It's a plastic inlet valve, plastic threads, so just want to snug them up. Okay, so now we're going to turn the water and electric back onto the washer. Now we're just going to check for any water coming out of the inlet hose connections here. with water turned back on, and then next we'll turn the washer on a cycle and we'll check for any leaks here. Alright, so now with the washer filling with water, we're actually running water through this portion, or this inlet hose here off the inlet valve. So you just want to check and make sure you're not getting any water leaks coming out of here. Everything's dry. Alright, so now we can go ahead and mount this back into place. There's a tab here on the back panel that our bracket slips onto, and then we're just going to reattach our 5/16 screw at the top. Alright, and that will complete your repair. Thank you for watching another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.